All right, we're live. Welcome everybody to Big East Coast Podcast. I didn't put a number on this one, so I don't know what number it is or if it even technically counts. Um, but May 26, 2017, the waning hours before Memorial Day weekend here. So that's
Yep.
exciting. Pretty nice out, at least around here in the Chicago area. It's going to storm later, but it's in the 70s, so can't complain about that. It's been a pretty brutal month for weather out here. It's been in the 50s and 60s most of the month, so that's not ideal.
No such luck out here in New Jersey. It's been pretty hot almost every day. This weekend's going to be a bit of a downer as far as weather goes. Today it's 74 and cloudy. Sun's trying to peek out tomorrow. Afternoon showers. Sunday mostly cloudy. Monday AM thunderstorms. So
Kind of ruins the holiday there.
not the best start to the unofficial summer, but in the 70s at least. Temperature-wise, it's going to be nice.
Yeah,
Everything else could improve.
yeah, definitely. So we actually have some stuff to talk about, which is why we did this in the first place. There's not usually a ton of news this time of year, but you got a couple schedules starting to trickle out, and the draft deadline, which I think there were probably two things that I would call surprises as time went on. I mean, I didn't think at first that Doug Otto or Blewett would be going to the draft, and then I did, and now neither of them are.
I was going to think, yeah. I was wondering if you were going to mention Diallo out of Kentucky as far as a surprise.
Well, that one was a surprise too, because I saw him in the top 10 of a couple mock drafts. But
Must have not gotten a guarantee.
yeah, so Trayvon Blewett, Angel Delgado are back. Justin Patton and Edmund Sumner are gone. I don't think those two are surprised, especially when Sumner got hurt.
Definitely not. Yeah, I mean,
it's a crowded team at Xavier, and who knows when he would be back anyway. And I mean, they were okay without him, and that probably didn't play into his decision as much. But
no, I mean, I don't think that much played into his decision as much as it was, okay, I had a torn ACL. I don't know when I'm going to be back. And even if I do come back, am I going to even be at full strength? So I got to cash in on the value that I have right now.
Well, yeah, exactly.
So I can if I'm hurt at the end of 2017, at least I'm making money somewhere.
And I mean, I think when healthy, he's a top 20 pick. So a team's going to get a real good value with him if they can get him back to health. And everyone's different, but coming back from knee injuries these days is not too bad like it used to be.
No, certainly not. In his situation, it's not entirely the same because I believe that they were different injuries. But I kind of remember Karis LeVert over at Michigan when he got hurt after his senior season, and then he was drafted in I think the Nets took him in with a late first round pick around number 20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was selected with the number 20 pick by the Pacers, but then was traded for Thaddeus Young, but to get to the Nets. So he was able to, make out all right, even though he did have the injury with the, entering the draft. So, and that was his.
Yeah, he's been okay for the Nets. I mean.
Yeah, exactly. And that was actually LeVert's third surgical procedure in 22 months. I'm looking on his profile here. So. And he was still unconscious at the combine, so he was able to, make the most out of going, even though he had to, obviously, because he was graduating. But sort of a similar-ish situation where a player has to depart, did so with injuries behind it, but still, made out all right. So Sumner will probably end up being the same. And if he's picked in the second round, when he's healthy, someone's going to get good value out of him.
And I mean, Draft Express has him at 42 to the Jazz, which would be interesting, especially if they can keep Gordon Hayward. That's actually a pretty nice team.
Yeah, I know. I know that the Jazz lost out on the option to sign him to the Supermax or whatever because he wasn't named to the All NBA team. So he's probably going to end up in Boston with Brad Stevens. Let's be honest.
I know Indiana wants Hayward.
Do they? I didn't see that.
I mean, the fans do at least.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's obvious. It'd be an interesting
Um,
because that would only be interesting because him and Paul George were the guys that were able to get the super max, but neither were able to because of the dismissal of the All NBA designation. Which I saw people blaming the media for that because they were like, "Oh, the media just caused him to lose money." Well, I hate to tell you this, but it's kind of twofold to have that in their contracts.
yeah, well, media sucks now. That's
Of
how things
course.
are these days.
Anyways,
Justin Patton, he took his time with his decision. I think people thought he was going to come back, but I mean, he was a first round projected pick the whole time. It's just a matter of lottery or later in the first round. Draft Express has him going 19 to Atlanta,
mm-hmm.
which is good, I guess. I mean, I don't. It's kind of hard to see a guy that you enjoy watching go to the East if it's not in Cleveland because
Yeah.
you know how things are going to be. But Cleveland doesn't have first round picks, so I think he would be pretty good in Atlanta. I'm pretty sure Dwight Howard. Do you have a 1 year deal there? I don't know.
Let me check. I'm gonna check Spot Track or however you pronounce it.
Obviously, Patton needs to put on a little weight if he's going to be an NBA center.
Mm-hmm.
But if Dwight Howard is still there, you don't necessarily have to play Patton at the center.
Yeah, Howard's going to be there for 2 more years.
Okay, so I mean, yeah, you play Dwight in more of a traditional center position, and then you have Patton because Patton was never really a traditional center anyway.
No, yeah, exactly. So you can have him wherever. Yeah, I mean it mostly depends on where teams would value a 7-footer with a 7'3" wingspan. That's still less than 20 years old, so he's still got plenty of potential. Because his wingspan is 7'3", but compared to a guy like Jarrett Allen from Texas, whose wingspan is about 7'5", I mean, kind of splitting hairs between 2 inches there, but they're both of similar body mass, both are hovering around 7 foot. Jarrett Allen is 6'11". Allen has him beat by just a bit by wingspan, but both are around the 225 range. So they're probably going to be compared a lot. I know the freshman from UCLA, Ike Anibogu, is going to be someone that maybe need to watch as far as who could get picked before Patton or who Patton could go ahead of, because I know he showed out at the combine from what I had heard, I believe. Because I know, I see his wingspan is 7'6", which is ridiculous. So.
Yeah, and then just going further down this mock draft, Josh Hart going number 44 to the Knicks, which would be cool.
Oh boy,
I guess. I don't.
Say a prayer for him. I'm sorry. I know that would be any spot is a good spot for any prospect, but oh boy.
And then LJ Peak going number 60 to Atlanta. So
all right,
cool
yeah,
too.
I could see that. Yeah.
So that's what Draft Express has as of yesterday. So
it was updated yesterday. Oh wow,
it'll change again.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
Draft Express, good reference this time of year.
Yep, we talked to him at the biggest championship game, I believe it was.
We did. Nice guy.
Yeah. Nice guy. Yeah, very nice guy.
All right, switching gears. Yeah, if we want to get in a little more about Angel Delgado and Trayvon Blewett. I mean, I really didn't think all year that Delgado would leave because, guys like him in this NBA don't really fit in, whereas, 10 years ago he'd be a lottery pick, but, the game has changed where there's not too much of a role for a guy who, I mean, I don't know if I want to say that, but, you led the nation in rebounding once. If you could do it again, maybe even improve the rebounding a little bit more, you're a Kenneth Faried type.
Yeah.
And I think that probably played into this decision. I know Adam Zagoria had one scout saying that Delgado could be a first-round pick next year.
He could certainly play his way. I'm not sure. Like, obviously, his shooting away from the rim needs to improve a little bit, but I'm not so sure what he needs to necessarily improve upon because he's a very good player as he is right now. And I'm not so sure if he's so much hit his ceiling as much as he might just be who he is. But that's obviously a very, very talented player who, I guess, with a good season and with more tape that could help his cause, could play his way into the first round next year. But we'll obviously see where that goes.
Yeah, and I mean, just going back to Draft Express real quick, it doesn't look like he has him in his draft for next year right now.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously it's early. There's a lot that can change.
Yeah.
I know coming into this year, he had Jesse Govan in the first round.
Yep, exactly. So a lot.
You can play your way in, and Blewett. I was a little surprised just because of how crowded Xavier is. I mean, obviously he would have a starting spot. He's one of probably 3 guys who will be in the running for Big East preseason Player of the Year with Delgado and Jalen Brunson.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I was a little surprised, especially after his workout with the Pacers on Monday. He had a quote that really made it sound like he was leaving.
Mm-hmm.
But that's big for Xavier. It's big for Seton Hall. They're gonna probably be 2 and 3 in the Big East this year because everyone's still trying to catch Villanova.
Yep, and then as you mentioned, he had that quote with the Pacers after the Pacers workout, I should say, and then it came out that he canceled on the Knicks. So, frankly, that would move him up my draft board because that shows he's a smart decision. He's a good decision maker.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I have to get off on Nick's shade and fraud right now. So,
but yeah. So as I had touched on an article that I had written earlier this week on the impacts of Delgado and Blewett's returns, like you had mentioned, Xavier and Seton Hall certainly improve. I think Seton Hall avoided the heavier hit between them and Xavier because Xavier is going to be loaded again, thanks to their talented recruiting class, as well as Kaiser Gates, Quentin Gooden, Tyreek Jones, Sean O'Mara, JP McCura. So they were going to be solid in their own right, and if they got good contributions from their freshmen, they were going to pretty much be right where they were at last year, if not a little bit better. Seton Hall, they lose Delgado, they lose basically all of their post score because Sanogo and Nezi are averaging in their careers about 3.3 and 3.9 points per game. Yeah.
Delgado obviously is much more than that. So, and considering the fact that they had, 2 freshmen coming in and a JUCO transfer in Romaro Gill, they would need them to adapt quickly, and that's asking a lot. That's asking a lot of guys who are going to be new to the program, and they lost Rashid Anthony as well to a transfer earlier this offseason, I believe. So, Seton Hall definitely is breathing a heavy sigh of relief because without them, I know Powell and Carrington and Rodriguez are certainly a talented trio, and they're going to have some depth with them, but you basically lose your whole inside scoring.
I'm just worried about them for 2018, 2019 when all these guys are gone. But
yeah, I mean, I think they're doing certainly a decent job of loading up for the future. I would expect that they put an emphasis on the guard position, and they definitely seem to have because they have Powell, they have Aaron Gordon, Miles Kale's coming in now next year, along with Jordan Walker. So they're going to have their point guards. They need to worry about, and I suppose they'll get into it once they start, hitting the 2018 recruiting trail hard. And I know you mentioned Nova. We'll touch on 2018 recruiting in a little bit here. They'll need to hit the wing position hard because right now they don't have any locked up right now, and the only true wing on the team right now is Desi, and he's only around for 1 more year. So
yeah, which I'm sure they'll take care of.
And yeah, like you say, it's a necessary concern for them. It's an obvious one. If you look at if you just look at the composition of the roster, it's there for you. It's pretty clear. I mean, they're obviously loading up on front court talent, which isn't a bad thing by any stretch, but they're going to have to fill their needs, and it's a concern. But they know what they're doing there in South Orange, so I'm not concerned about them. It's just a matter of who they get.
Yeah,
and there's certainly plenty of talent out there. So,
all right, switching gears, we got the Gavitt games again, and they're certainly around.
They certainly are. So off the bat,
I'm gonna say what I've been saying on Twitter to multiple people. As someone who's really into college basketball, I can find things that I like about pretty much all of these, but if I'm a casual fan, it really doesn't do anything for me. I'm not gonna watch, Purdue and Marquette over the Champions Classic.
No, I mean, Marquette Purdue certainly has its reasons for being good.
Yeah, but
I'm sure Purdue's going to be a top 25 team, but still, I mean, like you said, it's not Kentucky, Duke, or Kansas, Michigan State, or whatever the hell the matchups are this year.
When you don't have Villanova or Michigan State or Michigan or even Georgetown, which will be an intriguing watch this year, if only just because of Patrick Ewing.
Yeah.
It loses a little bit, and
it does. What you're doing by not having them is basically relying on the non-flag bearers, and that's not disrespecting the likes of Butler or Marquette or Creighton or any of them or Xavier. It's just that they're not Villanova.
I mean, look, it's been a tie the last 2 years, and it's like it'll probably be a tie again. They do a really good job getting even matchups.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't want Michigan State in there to play Georgetown.
No, I mean that would just not be fair.
Not this year. Or I don't want Villanova to play Nebraska again.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Villanova, Purdue, or Butler, Northwestern were two very good games last year, and they featured good teams.
And well, are we going to even touch on Georgetown, Maryland, or?
Oh, actually, both Georgetown, Maryland games are good.
Yeah, exactly. Even though this last one was one to forget for Georgetown.
Well, yes, but I mean, Minnesota and Providence, that's a good game. You got two young teams there. Both made the tournament last year, I believe. Minnesota did.
Mm-hmm.
Providence was out in the first four, I think. Yeah, they lost to USC.
Yeah, they lost to USC.
Yeah. Purdue, Marquette, you had two tournament teams again. Actually, looking at this, the majority of these teams made the tournament.
Yeah, I mean they're all good. They're all good games. It's just they're not.
Obviously, Purdue's not going to be what it was, but that's still a pretty significant game for Marquette. Maryland's not what they were, but that's a good road game for Butler, and they'll also be in PK80.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't think Northwestern is what they were, but that's a fine game for Creighton.
Creighton cannot escape the Rosemont horizon. They thought they could, but they will not be able to since they're doing renovations at Welsh Ryan. So Northwestern is playing in Rosemont this year.
They are. Obviously,
Indiana Seton Hall is going to be fun.
It's not Seton Hall's best non-conference game, though.
It's not.
They're going to Louisville.
It's still pretty solid.
That's just... You wouldn't see the Big 12 SEC showdown.
Well, the Big 12 SEC Challenge...
Kentucky in it.
I don't like the matchups in the Big 12 SEC Challenge this year. Kentucky's playing West Virginia, and that'll be fun, but everything else stinks.
Is Mizzou in it?
No, they're not in it. And Kansas is playing Texas A&M.
Mizzou not being in it seems like a waste. Texas A&M's going to be good, but Mizzou not being in it seems like a wasted opportunity given
it's a huge wasted opportunity.
Who they have. But, it's like the Big Ten ACC thing. They wouldn't not have, Michigan State or Duke or UNC in that. So, to treat this, and Michigan State, I know they have the Champions Classic, and they are planning on still beating their they got to be in 4 times, which now they have 5 years to do, but they're still planning on doing it. According to the school.
Yep.
So they're still planning on doing it. Villanova, I mean, I get them taking a break. They've been in 2 years, and I believe they're going to the Bahamas this year.
I believe so. Yeah.
That sounds right. Or Maui, even though St. John's went to Maui. Was that last year they went to Maui? They were still in?
No, it was 2 years ago. Last
Okay.
year they were in Atlantis.
I think they were in it last year, though, too. I mean, obviously, with the Big
So
East, with St. John's.
yeah, St. John's was in Atlantis last year, and then they were in Maui 2 years ago.
No, I know, but I think they were in the Gavitt games last year.
Oh yeah, no, they were. They faced Minnesota in MSP
Yeah.
at the barn.
But, no, I mean, there's good games here. Xavier, Wisconsin, they could have done it last year, and it would have been probably a lot more fun before Wisconsin lost everybody.
Yep.
I think they have Ethan Happ still, but that's about it.
No, I don't know if that's about it. They still have a
in terms of guys that were there for the win over Xavier.
Oh, you mean yeah. I mean,
Showalter's gone, Nigel Hayes is gone, Koenig's gone.
Showalter gone? I thought he was a junior. A senior?
I thought he was. I know they lost a lot of.
Showalter was a senior. Wow. He feels like he just got there.
Yeah.
From the win over Xavier, Hap is there.
Obviously, guys like Khalil
Iverson, yeah, and Alex. I don't know if Volcanian is still there actually.
But yeah, I mean, you could have had that one last year, and
but
or you could have Xavier play Ohio State 1 week or 1 year.
Well, you know why that's not happening in Ohio. That'd be too easy for Xavier right now.
Well, yeah, Xavier would beat them by about 25.
Yeah, Ohio State stinks. But yeah, no, the Big 12 SEC Challenge games, they're kind of bad. I mean, Baylor, Florida's solid. Florida's going to be good next year. Kentucky, West Virginia's fine. But apart from that, you have A&M, Kansas, which is going to be because it's at Allen Fieldhouse. Tennessee at Iowa State, like really?
I really do wonder though if to fit Michigan State in this, they consider moving it from feast week or pre-feast week to
middle of January.
Later. I would like it in the middle of conference play, but even like the first week of December. Well, I mean, obviously the Big Ten ACC thing. Throws a wrench into it too.
Well, the problem now is the fact that the Big Ten is so bent on going to the Garden.
Oh yeah.
For the first week, that they have to start their conference season earlier.
CBS also bought the rights to the American tournament to replace the Big Ten tournament.
I did see that too.
That's fun.
They were kind of put in a bind. There's not really much that they could do.
Well, no, I know, and they already had the American tournament.
Yeah, I mean, but they're not going to get the lead in that they're used to for the selection show.
Yeah,
not unless some significant things happen there. But
yeah, I mean, there's good matchups here. Obviously, like I said, Minnesota, Providence, Purdue doesn't have Caleb Swanigan, but
they still have Isaac Haas. They still have Vince Edwards.
Maryland doesn't have Mello Trimble, but they'll still be
good.
Indiana is actually going to be really intriguing, even though they lost a lot of people. Made a really good coaching hire.
Mm-hmm.
I think Xavier, Wisconsin will be fun just because that's a really good basketball environment.
Yeah.
Nebraska, St. John's
is that Cole, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that will be fun.
Nebraska, St. John's is a transfer over to see Isaac Copeland.
Yep.
I think. Yeah. That sounds right.
Unless he's sitting. He might be sitting.
No, he should be in by now.
Oh, yeah, no. You might be right.
And DePaul, Illinois is actually moving the meter a decent amount in this area.
Yes. I thought you were going to say this era because it looks like this era of.
Well, they haven't played in 60 years.
But and I'm just talking like relevancy right now because DePaul is moving the meter a little bit too.
Yeah, DePaul they're having a good offseason so far. They pulled in the coach from La Lumiere, where they already recruited fairly well, and then they got Tiger Campbell, Brian Bowen still floating around out there.
Yep.
They got this new arena. It'd be interesting. DePaul, they don't have their full schedule out yet, but their first couple home games are going to be Notre Dame and Illinois, or they go to Illinois. But regardless, you would think if the Illinois thing works, I think Northwestern comes to Wintrust this year, yeah, because they were at Welsh Ryan last year.
Mm-hmm.
So if the Illinois game goes well, I would really look into trying to get DePaul, Illinois, Northwestern, and Illinois State, I guess, to do a Champions Classic sort of, or a Crossroads Classic sort of thing at the United Center. I think people would come.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think DePaul's on the rise. I think Northwestern, obviously, back. People want Illinois to be back. And Illinois State is up there too. So,
Yep.
yeah, so
but,
I mean, I think the Gavitt games are okay, but they could be better, and that's what we've said each year so far.
Yep. Bottom line is they need to, strong arm the top flight schools. I think they obviously will have to the next 4 or 5 years. I'm surprised that they haven't gone the Michigan Seton Hall route yet. Rematch of the '89 championship game. I'm sure that may happen somewhere down the line. I'm disappointed it's not going to happen this year.
No, Michigan was only in 1.
But yeah.
The Big Ten schools have to be in 4, and the Big East schools have to be in 6. So Providence has been in 3 now. St. John's been in 3. Creighton's been in 3. So you have to figure they're going to get a year off eventually.
Yeah, exactly.
DePaul's been in 3. Georgetown and Villanova are taking a year off. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the Gavitt games. Providence's non-conference schedule came out yesterday. They were the first one to come out.
Yep.
Had some stuff we knew about. Obviously, they're going to be the 2K Classic. They're going to Mohegan Sun.
Mm-hmm.
And then they play the local schools. It's a good schedule. I mean, the last couple of years, they've not had a great non-conference schedule. This one is fairly good, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, their best opponent is going to be probably if they get Virginia Tech in the 2K Classic or Minnesota, but depending on how URI and Houston are this year. But Houston lost the one, or Houston lose? No, that's SMU.
Yeah.
So it's a fairly good schedule. I mean, I would like Providence to maybe start challenging themselves a little bit more, but they play the local schools. And that's good enough. I mean, they're going to be good this year. So
yeah, it's like you said. Most of this stuff was already known, but the dates weren't necessarily known. So, but now they're out there in the fold. Among the 37 pollsters who responded to the article on Providence's schedule, it is a dead heat as far as which non-conference matchup that fans are looking forward to, because 12 voted for URI, 12 voted for the 2K Classic, and 12 voted for Minnesota. One voter voted for other, and I'm not sure which matchup that would be, but
I'm actually really
dead heat.
Excited to see Creighton's eventual non-conference schedule, because we know they're facing 2 of Baylor, UCLA, and Wisconsin,
and Gonzaga.
And then there's still this Wichita State rumor flying around. Northwestern, obviously. Butler will be a good one to eventually see.
Mm-hmm.
Once the PK80 first round comes out, or the bracket, or whatever it is they're doing.
Yep.
I know you play 3 PK80 games, so.
Mm-hmm.
Villanova's will be nice when it comes together a little bit more. We know they play Gonzaga, and possibly Arizona. If I would imagine they're going to be on the 2 sides of the bracket in Atlantis.
Yep.
Which would be one of the best games of the year, I feel like.
Yes, certainly.
And I believe Villanova starts with UConn this year too. So.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the non-conference schedules are starting to come together. White and Blue Review has compilation of everything, including rumors that we reference a lot on the Twitter account.
Yep.
Yeah, so I guess we could get to some questions here, unless we missed anything in terms of.
Well, I know that Villanova got a commit the other night from Brandon Slater, their first 2018 recruit. I believe one of the first 2018 recruits in general for the Big East, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, Tiger Campbell, but.
Yeah, because he was 2019, but he's reclassifying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just taking a quick look here, there aren't a ton of 2018. Butler doesn't have any.
St. John's has one. So they got, Boubacar Diakite.
Oh
Made
yeah,
it back earlier this month.
he's pretty good.
Or last year, I mean, not last month. So
Marquette has Brandon Bailey, but that doesn't really count. He's been doing his Mormon trip. But yeah, that's a good get for Villanova early on.
Yep, definitely sits. I mean, like I had mentioned in the article, that move makes sense since they're only set to have 3 guards on the roster in 2018 right now.
Exactly.
I believe it's Brunson, DiVincenzo, and Colin, and I think it's Colin Gillespie.
Yeah, and Phil Booth, but he's kind of a question mark.
Exactly.
Still. But I would imagine that if his leg recovers, who's his leg, right? Yeah.
Yeah, tendonitis.
Yeah, then he'll get a red shirt for last year, and
he could.
But yeah, I mean, you got to kind of plan that guys like Brunson and Mikal Bridges might not be there too. So it's always good to plan ahead. That's what recruiting really is. And I think the thing about Villanova this year, which we'll obviously get more into in a couple months when we start the previews, they're going to be deeper than they have been in the past, which is really going to help them.
Definitely.
I mean, obviously losing Josh Hart's going to not be great, but I think Jalen Brunson can pick up a lot of the slack on a lot of different things. And so.
And don't forget about Omari Spellman.
Yes. So let's get into the questions here.
Yes, let's do that.
I guess I'll pull them up.
Yep, like I said, odd amount of news to talk about for late May.
It's nice though.
I'm content with it.
It is nice. You see I have water today?
I did.
I've been on the move all day, so I got my Dunkin' earlier.
Oh, by the way, did you see who was at DePaul today?
Who?
We've never been more on brand. AJ.
Really?
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Spoke to the let me see here. I saw it before. I can't find it. Yeah, she was at DePaul speaking to the Latinas in mental health class.
Oh, nice. It's a good thing to do.
Yes. You've never been more on brand than that.
I don't know where these questions started.
I think before Wednesday.
Yeah. Xavier fans aren't happy about playing Wisconsin. I think they wanted them last year.
Yeah, I think so too. I can't blame them.
Yeah.
I mean, like you had mentioned, it's not like there's a lot of overrun.
Yeah.
From Wisconsin's standpoint.
Is Seton Hall a top 25 team now? Yes.
Yes. Absolutely.
I think that Villanova, Xavier, Seton Hall, and one of Butler or Creighton will probably be ranked to start the year.
You're a little more bullish on Creighton than I am. I think they'll be like kind of fringe, if anything. I think Butler can definitely play their way, or not play their way, but make their way into the top 25 in the preseason polls at least. Obviously, preseason polls are what they are, but
yeah,
I think there's a good shot of 4 or 5 teams right now in there. So,
what's a better start time to draw more attendance? 6:30 or 8:45? That is from Corey02.
Ooh,
I think
it's 8:45. 6:30 is really dicey, especially in a lot of the Big East cities, at least.
Yeah, I mean, trying to get anywhere, like trying to get to the Garden for 6:30 start would be
dreadful. Trying to get to Newark for using NC Transit, dreadful. Trying to get to the Verizon Center in DC at 6:30, awful.
And now trying to get to the lakefront in Chicago is going to be tough for fans out here.
Yes.
Obviously, the students have a better time, but
yes.
Yeah, I think the 845s might be a little bit better.
845 is probably better, even though it's not ideal, obviously, for when the game eventually ends, but it's ideal for getting there, certainly.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to deal with as much traffic.
Yeah. Brendan Connolly, what does a preseason top 25 look like for the Big East? We took care of that. I mean,
yeah.
More or less.
I mean, if you want to get into numbers, I think Villanova probably somewhere between 6 and 10.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put them top 5. That's only because teams ahead of them might just be a little bit more heavier as far as Michigan State or Kansas or Kentucky and Arizona. That's 4 off the bat right there. So the highest they could go is 5th. But I think somewhere between 6 and 10, and then everyone else is pretty much just sandwiched between 11 and 25. Pick where you want.
Yeah. Michael Clark, will St. John's win the national championship this year or next year? I think there was a rumor early in the offseason about Marcus Levette going to the NBA, so that never happened. Yeah. So
it didn't.
That's good for them. They're gonna be on the rise again.
Yes, definitely.
And
they got Sidney Wilson, which was big for them.
Yeah.
So he'll be stepping in this year. So that'll be exciting for them. Like you said, I mean they're making progress. So.
Mike Hopkins, why do you hate insert team here?
Insert reasons here.
Yeah, let's see. Hide the rum 11. Is there a reason Villanova's not in the Gavitt games? I think it's a mix of them being in 2 and having to go to the Bahamas.
Yeah, they probably didn't want to. I mean, it's obviously at their discretion, but they're already playing in the Bahamas. They're already playing Gonzaga. They probably feel like, no, we've done this the last 2 years. Let's just take a break. They'll probably be in it next year.
Ken EC, where would you have Seton Hall and Xavier finishing in the league without the returning players, and where are they now with them coming back? Well, with them coming back, they're 2 or 3 in whatever order you want, I think. Without, I think Seton Hall's probably in the 5 or 6 area, where Xavier's probably still 3 or 4.
You're very high on Seton Hall even without Delgado. I think without Delgado, they are basically clinging and trying to squeeze their way into the NCAA tournament. So probably more around between 6 and 8.
Yeah, but you hate Seton Hall.
Okay, but I think a team. I'm just trying to be realistic here. And I know Seton Hall fans felt the same way. I mean, their tournament chances would have I don't want to say torpedoed, but they would have taken a massive hit without Delgado in tow, because I think then, I think Butler's better. I think Villanova's obviously better. Xavier's better. Creighton, they're right around the same point. Marquette, same thing. So they're probably just in Providence as well. So, I think their absolute floor would have been 8. They wouldn't have been worse than DePaul or Georgetown.
Yeah.
And, I think they probably would have been better than St. John's just because of experience. So, I mean, their absolute floor would have been 8 unless something dramatic happens. But 7th was probably, a little closer. I think Xavier probably would have still finished in the top 5 because they had enough depth to cover the loss, even if Blewett is a terrific scorer, and well, he is. So,
yeah.
Because I don't think it's not that I don't think anyone is talented enough, but I think no one on the Xavier roster can score like Trayvon Blewett can. So
yeah, okay.
Yeah, you're a little bit more bullish than me, and by little I mean a little.
Jake Hurts, who is most likely to get the 5th starting spot for Xavier? Scruggs, Najee, or Kaiser Gates?
I say Kaiser Gates.
Yeah, I mean,
I think Kaiser Gates.
The problem is keeping a guy like Paul Scruggs on the bench.
You probably don't. You probably mix in his time with Mikura.
I think the only person with a set starting spot is probably Quentin Gooden at point guard.
And Trayvon Blewett.
I mean, he doesn't have a set position though.
Well, I mean, you don't really need a position, so to speak.
Well, yeah. But I mean, if we're talking about guys that are going to start, it would be Gooden, Blewett, and Makura, and then you have 2 more spots for probably 5 other guys.
Yeah, I think Gates would get the nod, even if he did only he did only amount 6 points in his last 2 games, but he
Yeah,
was able to show out against Maryland and FSU.
yeah.
So I think he earned his way into the starting lineup there. So I think, but pretty much, I wouldn't be surprised if it was pretty much what it looked like last year, even if Scruggs does come off the bench. I think Gooden, Makura, Blewett, Gates, and O'Mara might be how they open, because then you have a lineup of, a sophomore in Gooden. You have 3 seniors in Makura, Blewett, and O'Mara, and then you have a junior in Kaiser Gates. Very experienced unit that's already got plenty of experience in the NCAA tournament together, played down the stretch together. They know each other. They have enough chemistry at this point. That's probably good. I would bet that's how they're going to open. I know Marshall and I know Scruggs are very talented players, but I think they're going to be coming off the bench.
I would really want to get Cantor in there somewhere, though.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
So I mean, they're a loaded team. I mean,
they are, and it's a very good problem to have.
I think if there was ever a team since the conference realigned that was going to give Villanova a run, it's probably this Xavier team.
Yeah, I agree.
So
what's your choice?
I'm going to go with Scruggs.
Okay, I'm going to go with Gates.
Okay. What else we got here? Chris Lane, why can't you stay on your promised podcast schedule? No.
Because the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Exactly.
This is how we've always operated. So.
Corey Catholdi wants to know if St. John's will make the tournament this season. I mean,
I think it's if there's going to be a year for them to have the most positive outlook to make the tournament, I think this is the year.
Yeah.
As far as the Mullen era so far, obviously, 2 years ago, no. Last year, no. This year, though,
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think their ceiling is like in playing in Dayton.
Mm-hmm.
But stranger things have happened.
But for a team like this, even the NIT would be a good thing.
Exactly, yeah.
Let's see, we got one more from VJ who wants to know why you don't like Reese's.
Because biting into peanut butter is just weird. There's not enough chocolate coating to sustain the blow of just biting into peanut butter. I can eat a sandwich with peanut butter on it because the bread is thick enough to be able to handle it. I cannot eat a Reese's cup because it just doesn't work. I can eat Reese's Pieces fine because at least those have a little bit more chocolate and they have a hard shell that can soak it up. But I can't. It's just weird to. And I'm saying that as somebody who is eaten peanut butter out of the jar before, but it's weird, and I can't do it over and over again. Like with Reese's cups, that's my reasoning for not liking Reese's a lot.
Yeah.
So, controversial opinion, I know, but not a Reese's cup fan.
That's it for us for now. We're not going to talk about baseball because the Cubs are good, the Yankees are surprisingly good, and the Mets are trash.
They are. The Nationals are very good.
Nationals are good.
The Reds are surprising. I'm trying to cover every base here. The Brewers are good.
Yeah, they're okay.
Maybe a little ahead of. Well, they're good, and they're possibly conspiracy theorists as well.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to keep it local here with that. Well, we do recognize the fact that there are Cleveland-based Xavier fans. So the Indians
they've been struggling. I think they'll kind of end up like the Cubs though, and they'll eventually be fine.
And the Phillies are awful, and I'm really sorry, Philly fans, but the Phillies are awful.
They had a good run.
They are just awful.
The uh, the Astros are also very good with former Big East Rookie of the Year George Springer
That is true.
and former Big
UConn,
East Player of the Year. Actually, the last UConn Big East Player of the Year.
yeah,
So
correct.
how about that?
Yep. Let's see what else. The White Sox are 20 and 25.
I don't think we have White Sox fans that listen to this, so
Do we really not?
I don't think so.
It's weird. It's weird. I feel like we only interact with Cubs fans, which is very strange. I'm just trying to keep it local here. We might have Orioles fans. The Orioles are good.
I guess we could have Pirates fans. They're not very good.
No, we do have Red Sox fans too up in the New England area. The Red Sox are 4 games over 500. Chris Sale is very good. That's the best thing I can say about them.
David
Chris
Price
Sale is very good. He is. Chris Sale is excellent.
Orioles fans? I like Manny Machado.
I'm a Manny Machado fan as well. Future Yankee.
Probably.
No, but he's probably going to the Phillies.
Yeah, so that's that.
Do we have any Cardinal fans? Sam is a Cardinals fan.
Yeah, we're not gonna.
They can't score runs, but they can sure pitch.
Yeah, not gonna get into wrestling because it's kind of a dead period for that.
It is. It's a very sluggish period for that. There was some great wrestling, though, at the good old Rosemont Horizon this past weekend, though.
That's not our jurisdiction anymore.
It is not. It is not. Unfortunately, it is not.
So yeah, I think that's about it here. I don't know when we'll be back.
Next time there's news.
We are driving to the St. Louis area in a few weeks, so maybe we'll hop on some sort of live platform.
Yes, it's possible.
Pass the time, maybe.
I can see it.
So yeah, that's about it. We ended up going for about an hour, so that was good.
Yep.
You got big Memorial Day plans?
Absolutely not. The
Nice.
weather is kind of making things bad. I can't even go to the pool.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to some cookout somewhere. I don't know where yet, but it's what you got to do up here.
Good for you for sticking to the snobby barbecue rule of calling it a cookout.
Yeah, if you're not having pulled pork or ribs or whatever, you can't call it a barbecue.
Apparently not. And barbecue is the type of food, not the event.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, we're going to keep our Big East baseball tournament stuff going.
Mm-hmm.
And then don't really know what we're going to do over the summer.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah, we're not going to shut the site down. That'd be bad. So, yeah, thanks for listening. If you're making your way somewhere for Memorial Day, safe travels. And we'll be back at some point.